His Toastmasters journey has allowed him to visit 80 countries in person and many more on Zoom. He credits his growth and success in Toastmasters directly to the people he connected with along the way and around the world. He is the prolific author of over 30 business and leadership success books and is Toastmaster for 48 professional level accredited speakers. He is currently the president of Wild Rose Advanced Toastmasters and is serving as D99's Juristic Leadership Committee Chair. Please help me welcome accredited speaker, Bob Hooey. Bob Hooey.
Thank you, Margaret. So let me ask you a question. Who knows you? It's not who do you know, but who knows you? I've heard a few people talk about, well, like Joan was saying, if you're in Camrose and they're mentioning Toastmasters, they know me. And then I think there's a secret in that. And thank you for mentioning that, Joan, in our breakout. In today's busy world, it's tough to get noticed. It's tough to get connected. And we're going to talk about growth through networking a little bit in this 15 minutes that I've been allocated. But I want to challenge you to think about not only who do you know, but who knows you and what do they know you for? Like Peter Coswin, people know him as the man who has started more Toastmaster clubs than anybody in the world, like literally anybody in the world. That's a designation that nobody at this point is going to overcome. That's his thing. And he's earned that one club after another club, after another club, after another club, including Wild Rose Toastmasters, which is the club that Peter and I are both members of. That kind of success happens through networking. The secret, I think, for what we need to do both as Toastmasters and in our business is to get to know people, get to know who they are, get to know what they're interested in, get to know what they want in their lives. Like, for example, I was mentioning at our breakout session that we just signed up a new member on Thursday night. He came to one of our events last fall, and we lost him. We literally lost him. Nobody had his email, and the email I had for him wasn't right. So, I thought, well, okay. And he showed up again on Thursday night. So I went over and said, Samuel, welcome back. I recognize you from, and I'm going to ask you a question. Are you still interested in joining? Because that's what he had told me at the last meeting, like last year. And he said, yes, I am. So I said, well, before you leave today, I want you to talk to Ken Tanner, who is stepping in as our vice president membership, because she wasn't in attendance that night. She was online. And before the end of the evening, he'd filled out the paperwork, and he's working with the treasurer to pay the dues. And boom, that's number 23 for us this year. But networking makes a difference. Who do you know, and who do you reach out to? I'll give you some examples. Back when I first joined Toastmasters 34 years ago, well, it'll be 34 years this month that I joined Toastmasters. My membership was registered April 1st, 34 years ago, but I joined the club in March 34 years ago. I didn't know anything. I don't know if anybody else has had this experience when you came into Toastmasters. It's kind of like, okay, what is this? It's a strange group. I don't know how to do this. I don't know anybody, what's happening. And, the lady who was the president, Lorna Cook of Toastmasters today, sat down with me, I think the second meeting, and she said, Bob, we want to thank you for coming to visit. We hope you come back and join. Why did you come? And I said to her, Lorna, this may sound strange, but I want to become a professional speaker and travel the world and encourage people to get out of their comfort zones. And she looked at me and said, okay, we can help you with that. And so she did. And Lorna and I went up the tree together. We were area directors the same year, and we were in division, and I followed her when she finished her year as district director. I was coming in as district director. That relationship began at that point where she simply said, what is it you need? What do you want? And she said the magic words, we can help you with that. And that's the key for building membership, I think, for our clubs, in terms of being open to people and saying, why did you come? and acknowledging the fact that they came, and then taking the time to say, we can help you with that, and then doing it, and then helping them grow, helping them stay. I give you another example where networking helps. When I was on the district trio, we had meetings with other trio members around North America. The most valuable, in fact, when I was a region advisor, I would tell the people in our region when they're going to mid-year training and when they're going for training, I said, keep in mind the most effective thing you'll do, the most important thing you'll do during training is get to network with people in other districts outside of your region. That's the most effective thing you can do to help your region and help your district is to network with people outside of your region. Because when you have a problem, and you will, because you're in leadership, you'll have challenges that'll show up all the time. They'll come and bite you in the butt when you're not looking. It's just that simple. Right, Jessica? Right, Tom? That's what happens. You're in leadership and you get ankle biters or butt biters. And you've got challenges. And if you're only networking with the people in your region or in your district, then you don't really have that. You need the wider range of people to say, here's the challenge I have, because inevitably somebody's going to go, well, I'm not sure if this will help, Bob, but here's what we do in our district. And one idea is better than no ideas. So it's a networking that helps you grow. It's the networking that helps you get better. Same thing with your club. When I was my second year in Toastmasters, just about my second year, I decided that maybe I should join a club closer to home. I was driving 45 minutes. It'd be like driving from where I'm here into Edmonton every month for Wild Rose, which I do. But driving 45 minutes in Vancouver area that's a long time. That takes you 2 blocks to go 45 minutes. But that's not rush hour. When it's rush hour, it's longer. You plan to take a lunch. It's that simple. But so I was going to this club every Tuesday night, and it was great. And I was learning and I was growing. And I thought maybe there's a club in New Westminster. So I joined Toastmasters of today in Vancouver, and I joined Tillicum Toastmasters in New Westminster. I was their 8th member, which later on I discovered why that was so important. At the time, I didn't know why they were so excited that I came and joined. I thought they were just happy that I was there. I think it was because they were happy they weren't going to die and be eliminated as a club, but I didn't know that at the time. So I thought, wait, hey, I'm an experienced Toastmaster. I've been a Toastmaster almost a year, and they're happy to have me. And I became president because I didn't duck. And we had a lady who came in as our district director and said, we're going to be #1 in the world in District 21. We're going to be #1 in the world. And I had the pleasure of keynoting the Toastmaster International Convention in Calgary back in, I think it was 2008. And Dr. Irene Evans was in the audience. And I said to her from the stage, I said, Irene, when you said that, I said behind your back in my brain, fat chance, lady, you don't know my area. Because I'd also become area director at the same time. I didn't know how to duck. I still don't. But after a while, I started thinking, okay, if we're going to be successful, how could we do that? And we brainstormed amongst the different parts of the different clubs in my area and maybe some people outside the area. And we had some ideas. We started doing speechcrafts. We brought in a professional speaker. I rented a room, and I invited all 5 clubs to bring people in. And my friend, Peter Legg, who is a speaker, Hall of Fame speaker, et cetera, came and just mesmerized people. And people got excited, and they went back and joined their clubs. And, interesting thing happened at the end of that year. In my area, Area 52, every club was distinguished or better. All of them are still in existence today. District 21 went on to be #1 in the world. And Tillicum Toastmaster, remember the club with 8 members, ended up the year with 23 members. And they were #13 in the world for clubs under 20. Because we bought into the idea that we could make it happen. And that happened through networking. That happened because people bought into the idea of saying, well, if it could work, how would it work? And we started getting ideas instead of being negative. No, it won't work. Can't do that. We tried that before. It didn't work and all this stuff. Say, well, okay, if it would work, how could we make it happen? and then set some concrete steps in place to make it try something. Maybe it didn't work the first time because the timing was wrong. Maybe it'll work now because the timing is right. Like with Samuel coming and joining us Thursday night, the timing was right for him. He came back. He's now got his doctorate between then and now. So we now have a doctor joining our club. I'm assuming it's a doctorate, not a physical doctor, but we'll find out, But it'd be nice to have a physical doctor in the room too. I mean, we have some high-spirited meetings. You never know. But the timing is right. And you have to trust that the timing is right, but you have to keep asking. It's like with me, Margaret mentioned that I am the chair of the District 99 Leadership Committee, which means that I am bugging people like crazy saying, hey, I'm looking for leaders. Hey, how about you? In fact, there might be some people on this call. How about you stepping up to be an area director next year, or to be a division director, or be on the trio next year? To the point where I'm sure people are going, oh, my goodness, Bob, don't keep bugging me about becoming a leader. You're every TLI, all the COTs, all you're doing is saying, we're looking for leaders. We want people to step up and take this district into next year. I figure if I keep bugging them, some of them are going to go, okay, I'll think about it. So think about it. So I've given you my little pitch for that. Now I can get back to what I want to talk about. But in business, for example, networking, I think, is the serious differentiator between one business and another. It's who knows you. When they think of a particular product or service, what name comes to mind? And if your name comes to mind, chances are you're going to get the business. When you own that brand, when you own that location, when you own that thought process for a certain thing, people say, hey, when you're talking to so-and-so, do that. When I first started as a professional speaker, I got a lot of business from people in the States because I was one of the few speakers from Canada that used to go down to the National Speakers Association events. And they say, well, talk to Bob up in Vancouver. He can probably help you. And sometimes I can help them by signing up and say, yes, I can do that for you. I got a lot of business in the States to start with. In fact, I was speaking more in the States when I started than here in Canada, but because people knew me. Because I was involved, I was giving, I was doing, I was being approachable. Same thing, I had a guy come up to me at an NSA event, and he was from Holland. And he said, Bob, somebody told me you're a good speaker. We're having a conference in Holland in such and such a date. Could you come and speak? And I said, of course I can. I always said yes to speaking, which led to doing repeated. I've been there twice. I've spoke for the people in the French Association 3 times. I'm thinking maybe it's time to go back. I've spoken to 8 of the Global Speakers Federation events because somebody knew me and recommended me. That's the key. Who do you know that will recommend your club to say, hey, Toastmasters has helped me in my work, my career, my life, whatever. It'll help you too. And by the way, here's a club you can go join. So who knows you? Who knows you? I'll give you another couple examples because I've got about 2.5 minutes left. Some of you see the book behind me called Company of Leaders. When I was invited to keynote the leadership luncheon at the International Convention in Calgary in 2008, I thought, what can I do? So I created a small little handout book called The Power of One, because I believe that one of us has the capacity to make a change in our clubs, in our lives, in our careers, whatever. And at the same time, I went out and I reached out to 40 people and said, give me some of your best stuff. I'm going to put a book together called In the Company of Leaders, because Toastmasters are about leadership as well as professional speaking. And we created that and gave it away. Last year was our 100th birthday. I went and got 20 more speakers and authors. So we have 60 people in this book that contributed their wisdom to say, if you want to be a better leader, here's how. That's networking. And we gave that away all last year. In fact, I think it's still available on the web if you don't know. Toastmasters, one last thing. I love to travel. If anybody knows me knows that I'm off somewhere. I just came back from a cruise. I'm booking another one after I put my report in for the district leadership report on the 12th. That afternoon, I'm off to Orlando to go on a cruise for my birthday. That's my reward for doing all this work for Toastmasters. It's silly, but it works to me. But I love to reach out to Toastmasters as I'm traveling. And I haven't had the opportunity to speak in Toastmaster events all over the world, whether it's Perth or Beijing or Copenhagen or Perth or Cape Town. And some of that happens because of networking. Some of it happens because they say, hey, Bob, you're an accredited speaker. Would you come and speak for our district? And hint, hint, there's a couple of districts here, it could be available next year because I know you probably already booked your speakers for this year. But I do 2 or 3 a year because that's my give back. And I tell people, get me there, feed me, and give me a place to sleep. I'm yours. And we'll take it from there. As accredited speakers, we don't charge for our time. We just come and give it because we want to help you grow. So there you go, folks. There's a few things that you can do to leverage your Toastmasters experience, to use your networking skills to build your career, to build your club, to build your relationships with people around the world. I tell people I'm laughing. I have friends around the world. Some of them I have even met. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. I'm going to sneak out for a few minutes because I'm helping a club that's being rescued, and then I'll be back.
Thank you very much for that.